Structure of our daily mastermind is going to be getting into the habit of reading these books. In my training, I always like to tell people that the most important part of you being in this job is making sure that your mind is right. Specifically because we are going through some times where everybody has already mentally said, there's not a lot of home selling, there's not a lot of people that are buying. But opposite to that, we are experiencing a ton of success just because we are sticking to the fundamentals and the basics. So here's the structure: 10 minutes of book reading. I know a lot of us don't have that structure at home currently, but I want you guys to not only do the 10 minutes that we're going to be doing every single morning at 8:30, but I also want you guys to embrace some other books. And I always like to say, maybe you can get on your phone and get the audiobook and read along with us and listen along with us, because the reality is that if you're not thinking into how you're gonna move your business forward, there's gonna be an issue. So the next 10 minutes are gonna be about market update. I wanna talk a little bit about real estate, and I know some of you guys could tune in and you guys could ask me some questions here. But I wanna talk about what's happening right now in our current market. Obviously, we've had a big disruption in business due to the fact that there is a pandemic that's going on. And during this pandemic, people tend to do the first thing that comes to mind, which is number one, panic. And the other thing is stop everything that they had planned. Does that make sense? So I'm starting to see a lot of people that, even in our industry, for you guys that are here, because this is a real estate mastermind group, a lot of people that are in the real estate market have completely stopped marketing, and they have completely stopped showing people properties. They have completely stopped open housing. And again, I'm not saying you have to open house or you will be able to open house, because I know there's very strict regulations for our industry right now where we can't open house. But I always wonder, and as we're masterminding, I know a lot of people in the business that 80% of their business came from sitting at open houses and just generating income. Does that make sense to you guys? So the one book that I'm gonna push in there during our masterminds is the book Who Moved My Cheese, and I need you guys to write that down. Who Moved My Cheese is one of the books that I encourage you guys to purchase. You guys need to have this book in your library of books, because it's one of the books that has really helped me understand what do I have to do in this business transition that we're going to. Because the reality is, if you have 80% of your business come from open houses and all of a sudden the open houses are gone, what's the next step? So right now, the market update is the following. Interest rates continue to be at an all-time low. And I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of people put it on social media. The media is really broadcasting how low the interest rates are. But the reality to this is not only are the interest rates that are out there low, but the interest rates are coming at a much higher cost because of the amount of volume that the banks are receiving. So the banks are saying, well, the rates are low, we're getting a bunch of submissions, so they're raising the rates on the bank end so that they can make the spread, and not only make the spread, but at the same time slow down the business. This does not mean that your clients cannot still get out there and get like a 3.25 interest, 3%. I've still seen 2.75 and stuff like that. But the reality of stuff is that the banks are charging the customer the premium to get the financing. So that's very important for you guys to understand that rates are at an all-time low, and they're going to continue to be at an all-time low for the next 2 to 3 years until we can really get away from this hump that we're in. And again, it's going to come down to how you guys protect your mindset. Another thing that's very important for you guys to understand during this pandemic is that if you guys are out showing property, there's a specific COVID-19 disclosure that needs to get filled out by the buyer and by the agent. The reason that they're making us do that is because they want to make sure that everybody's protected. They want to make sure that everybody has their face mask. They want to make sure that everybody is respecting the social distancing guidelines. The most important part of that is make sure that you're filling out your COVID-19. Has anybody of you guys done it? Has anybody that?
Yeah, I have a question, Jess.
Yeah, go for it.
Does this include vacant properties? Because I'm going to go show a property right now and it's vacant. Should I have my buyer sign the COVID form right now before we leave?
I would make sure that you're having the buyer sign it. This is what I love about this form, Jesse. That's very important. And this is something that I've been telling everybody for the longest time. I've been trying to make sure that every single customer that I represent has the opportunity to sign some type of contract. So now that we have this COVID-19 disclosure, Jesse, if you sign something, doesn't it make you commit more to the process?
Yes.
Okay, so this is one of the reasons. Not only is it going to protect you, but even if the property is vacant, just make sure that you're filling it out so the customer understands that you're following the proper procedure. The last thing you want is for you to get out there. And I know everybody that we're engaging with, at some point we have a good relationship, but when stuff hits the fan, you just want to make sure that you protect yourself for the sake of running a normal business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, perfect. So the COVID-19 disclosure is extremely, good morning. The COVID-19 disclosure is extremely important, and you need to make sure that you are not, and again, representing a lot of the sellers right now in this current marketplace, I'm looking at a lot of people that are working in your industry that have no idea what COVID-19 disclosure form is, and this just tells me that they're not doing enough business for them to really stay on track with what people are doing. Does that make any sense? Yes, it does, right?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, perfect. Anyway, another thing that's very important during these times, what I would be doing, market update, I would be calling all of the past clients that you have. Write that down. If you don't have past clients because you're brand new to this business, I would highly recommend that you start to get into the habit of having these natural conversations with people that you know are going to become customers in the very near future. I'll give you guys an example. I've had a seller, his name is Mr. Contreras, and Mr. Contreras has been beating around the bush for the last year or so. This year has been very, very tough for him financially because, as I had discovered in the past, he had already fallen behind on his mortgage payments for 3 months. So now COVID-19 comes and crushes him, blindsides him, and it would not be smart of me to not reach out and tell Mr. Contreras, hey, I know there's payment arrangements that you could set up with your bank, but let's really get into the conversation of what happens after all of this is finished. Does that make any sense to you guys? What's going to happen after this pandemic is over? Are you just going to take the same approach and default on your payments and get foreclosed on? Absolutely not. So I reached out to Mr. Contreras, and to my surprise, he says, you know what? You're right, Jesse. And I scheduled an appointment. Obviously, again, I'm going to continue to push this. Wear your mask, get out there, and make sure that you're properly giving the information that's required so that the customer, when they engage, they're signing every single piece of paper and they're submitting legitimate offers or signing legitimate listing contracts. Another thing that I want to mention right now, I've been in the industry for some time, and a lot of you guys that are here or watching, this is the one thing that used to irritate me the most, was talking to a potential consumer that would always tell me, we're gonna wait till the houses drop. Has anybody ever heard that before? People that are like, oh, I'm gonna wait till real estate crashes or till real estate drops. Well, I want you guys to know that right now it's the right time to call all those people that were saying that they were gonna buy when it's cheaper. Well, I would call, and this is what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks, calling my buyers that were on the fence, that were not committed to buying, and telling them, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, I want you to know that the majority of my clients have been getting into properties and the closing costs have been paid and they're getting repairs. This is the opportunity that you've been waiting for. And to be honest, 90% of the people that I'm reaching out to are automatically sending me their financials so that I can start them in the pre-approval process. So those are things that I want you guys to stay very, very alert of. I want you guys to understand that during these times, 80% of the people that are in your industry are going to completely drop out, and that's going to give you the opportunity to represent a lot more clients. Again, this is why I'm pushing for us to strengthen our mindset by making sure that we read these books. I always say this, my dad suffers from mental illness. I believe that he would have been able to beat a lot of what he's going through just by feeding his subconscious. So 2 books that I want you guys to write down, because that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about for the market update, is Think and Grow Rich, super important. Matter of fact, this is a book that was given to me, and I'm sure you're gonna recognize it once I put it online. And then the other one that's very important is Who Moved My Cheese. Those two books, you need to be reading them, and everybody that I've been recommending them, specifically in business, have been telling me, oh my God, Jess, I understand the concept of somebody moving my cheese. So it makes total sense. Moving on, the last 10 minutes of our mastermind. Do you guys, anybody have any questions right now? Anything that they're going through that you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go for it, Jess.
Okay, so I got an offer. We're about to open escrow. Well, we open escrow on Friday, but is it more common to see now 45-day escrows compared to 30-day escrows?
Yes, that's a very good question. So this is what I'm doing, and I'm happy you brought this up because I'm going to be talking about it a little bit on Game Changer today at 11. So I need you guys to tune in because we're going to make sure that we're discussing all these things, and that's a great question. These stand escrow in about 30 days in a normal market. Does that make sense? 30 days, right? Right now, I would highly recommend that you guys start pushing 45 to 60-day escrows. I would highly recommend that. Can you get away with 30? Yes, you can, but you have to get into the mindset that you're gonna have to grab that lender by the tie or by the neck and push it through. Again, when we're talking about real estate, I want you guys to put into your mind that you guys are the quarterback. The quarterback makes the conscious decision to read the plays and execute. Does that make sense? So right now, Jess, I would say that you stick to the timelines. 45-day escrow is very common. Here's the other issue that I'm having, and I hate to go a little bit more into the market update because I have something I'm going to discuss in Game Changer, but this is the reality of things because I've had several cancellations. Can you really go in front of a judge and cancel after 45? Let's say you canceled after 45 days, right? They couldn't go through with the deal, Jess. Can you go in front of a judge and tell the judge, I want to keep their deposit, judge, because they didn't perform? If the buyer says to the judge, well, I lost my job because of COVID-19. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can't.
You can't, because what are they going to do? So what I'm saying is you need to grab these deals. And if you accepted an offer, Jesse, on the listing, make sure you go the extra mile and talk to the lender, talk to the listing agent, talk to the escrow officer, talk to the title representative. You need to make sure that you're ironing out all the details of the transaction prior to you getting in there and wasting 45 days of your seller's time. Because the reality of stuff is, even though everybody's mind is like, oh, business is dying, we're starting to see the record amount of transactions come in just because everybody wants to see properties. This Saturday, I met with a few people and I'm like, wow, I can't believe all these people are coming during this time frame. So to answer your question, Jesse, 45-day escrow is ideal. If you feel that the buyer is very, very well prepared financially, then shoot for a 30-day escrow. It doesn't hurt anybody. I mean, I am seeing a lot of people that are very committed right now, a lot of cash buyer coming into our marketplace because they know that the minute that this is all over, we're going to start to see the increase in prices all over again. So if for the sake of having conversations, people are going to ask you guys, oh, what do you think the market is doing? I only like to share my personal experience, and to be honest with you guys, my clientele is buying a lot more than they were when they were having to compete with 20, 30, 40, 50 offers. And if you guys weren't looking at all those offers that were being submitted, you'll see now that if you show the customer a home, like if you're going to show today, Jesse, you call and pre-qualify the listing agent. And once you pre-qualify the listing agent, if you have a good contract, they should be able to present that offer right then and there. Because the other thing is that the sellers are also starting to lose confidence. The sellers are now feeling like, man, if I don't get my house sold right now, what happens if the market does take a dip? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but what do you mean by qualify the listing agent?
Qualifying the listing agent is rating the motivation of the seller. So when I call when I call a listing agent, I already know if they're telling me the truth or not. My very standard procedure to asking questions to a listing agent is, hey, how many offers do you have on the property? Number one, all the time. I always want to know how many offers they have on the property because most of the time people are not asking that. And number two, I like to ask, are any of those offers being represented by you? The reason I ask about the offers is because by law, they are forced to disclose just so that you can do your job properly with your customer. And number two, if they're doing a double agency for the listing, what makes you think that they're going to go up to bat for your buyer so that the offer can get accepted? Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So I'm going to call the agent right now and ask her that.
Yeah, ask her those very quick. Hey, how many offers do you have on the property? And number two, are you representing any of the offers? If they answer yes. So make sure that you're doing that, and make sure that you guys are acting very, very aggressive. Anybody that I take to look at homes right now, they're getting into the contracts right away. All right, to wrap this up, because we only have 4 more minutes, there's this script that I'm going to be emailing you guys the link. And I get it. Everybody knows scripts. Everybody knows how to do it. But this is the one script that I've been using in the last few days. And this script has been getting me a great amount, and I'm showing it to everybody right here. I'll make sure that Catherine sends it to you guys. But this is the just sold script. A lot of you guys are closing transactions, and the minute that you guys are closing the transactions, you guys are keeping the money in your pocket, and after the money's in your pocket, you completely forget about the relationship with the customer, and you completely forget that the statistics show that every time you sell a house in the area, 2 or 3 more people will also decide to. Does that make sense? So what I need you guys to do is, let's just say let's start off fresh, because I know everybody's been taking this quarantine break, minus a lot of the people that I know that are in this office. But let's just say you sold a house, Jess, the house that you sold in Reseda, right? That is a house that you recently sold, out of any house that you recently sold. I would start to make the commitment to get at least 30 to 45 minutes in today before you guys leave to calling a few people and letting the people in the area know that you just sold a house in their area. Does that make sense to you guys? So I want you to do that, because the reality of stuff is that everybody has a mindset of, oh man, the real estate business is suffering, I'm not going to close a deal. This is something that I continue to tell people. When was the last time that you closed a real estate deal? When was the last time that you legitimately closed a real estate deal and you found a buyer? Teresa, when was the last time that you went to somebody and the buyer or seller said, buy it right now, I'm going to close that for tomorrow? I think I've only had that happen to me once or twice in my career, but that's not very common. So what I want you guys to understand is that the real estate cycle is 30, 45, 60-day escrows. So I'll tell you one thing, whatever you guys do today is what's going to mark the difference of what's going to happen 2 months from now. So most of these customers that I get right now, I'm already thinking, this guy is not even going to buy till the next 2 months, but I got to nurture them. And you'll learn that a lot of the people that are highly motivated to buy are the people that usually don't qualify. So like the people that are like, come on, I'm ready to buy right now, they don't qualify. So it takes you back to step one, where you still have to help them financially. And in our game changer class, I'm going to teach you guys today a little bit of what you can do so that you could avoid waiting for the lender. There's a lot of things that you can do to get the pre-qualification of the customer going. And I'm going to teach you guys today, but this is what I want you guys to do every single day. If you're passionate about what you're doing, you need to make sure that you are constantly recording yourself and listening and recording this so that you know how to say it verbatim. I have too many people, and I've done the mistake myself, that I get into a meeting, and all of a sudden I want to talk all about myself. All of a sudden we're there for 2 hours and we're talking all about me. It is very, very plain and simple. You get there, you structure the questions, you ask the questions, you qualify the customer, and then you set up an appointment so the customer can look at the property. Too many of us are looking for the gratification of what happens after the customer comes in. If the customer is actively buying right now, make sure that you are getting the customer's contacts and also running down this script. So for example, right now, as we finish our morning mastermind, I already have it programmed in my schedule to contact at least 5 people. And out of those 5 people, if I get 50% of them, 2 people will make a decision to say, hey, you know what, Jesse, it is a right time to buy right now. And I always like to explain to them, because this is the #1 question that they're asking me. They're asking me, well, how do you feel about COVID-19? The houses are going to drop. And my response to that is, as at this point, we have not experienced a massive loss in equity. We have not gotten to that point yet. This is very new to us. But if you have been looking for the right opportunity, right now is probably the time where you're not going to be competing with massive offers, like 10 to 15 offers like we were in the last 6 months. And the other thing is that sellers are so scared that they are accepting closing costs or doing repairs. So with that being said, for everybody that joined us, I want to thank you guys. The ID for our morning mastermind is 852-9479-5991. You're also welcome to come into the office for our morning mastermind, as there is people here in the room right now, just because a lot of us are trying to get back into the swing of the real estate business. And the one thing I don't want us to do is I don't want this to be over and then we're finally playing catch up. Does that make sense? Get back into the habit of getting dressed up every day. You guys are professionals. You guys are running your business. And I say this all the time. You do not have the ability to work at a McDonald's, and a McDonald's, they'll tell you, well, you know what, COVID-19, you could take all the time off you want in the world until you feel better, unless you're sick, obviously. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to slowly get back into the habit of getting back to work little by little. I get it. It's been 45 days where you're waking up at 9, 10, 11, 12, but now is the time to really get back into that good morning routine so that you guys experience success. I look forward to seeing you guys at 11 a.m. today. Again, you guys are welcome to come into the office, or you guys can do the training via Zoom. And I'm going to be downloading the masterminds, and I'm going to be downloading the game changer classes so that you guys can follow the process. I'm extremely excited to share with you guys the new buyer's process, because now it's driven on a checklist. And a lot of you guys have been getting these leads, and if you're not getting the leads, ask me and I'll be more than happy to share them with you. But a lot of these customers are very, very hot customers. I'll give you an example just so we can wrap up the morning mastermind. But I got a lead that came in, I called it, and Saturday I was sitting with the customer at his house doing the full pre-qualification. The guy was so comfortable, and he says, man, I've been reaching out to so many agents that are not working. How come you're working? And I'm like, I have to make sure that I stay very active in the industry, because there's still a lot of deals that are happening, whether people have the right mind or not. And he gives me all his financials to learn that his net sales are in excess of $1 million. So there's customers that have money that are out there buying. It is your job to either pick up the phone and call them or to find them. But with that being said, I hope everybody has a good day. I'll see you guys at 11 a.m.